Google AdWords conversion tracking. Okay, so you open up Tools to bring to open up the menu. Then you go to Measurement and Conversions. This opens up a list of the existing conversions, and you can see historical ones that have been deleted. You can filter over here for enabled, and then you've got the metrics. So you've got the source, this is website, or analytics is Google. So this is AdWords' own conversion tracking code that you place on the website, where this one, Google Analytics, you import from Google Analytics. This one calls from ads. Those are actual clicks that you get on a telephone number right from inside Google. So people will see the advert on a mobile phone and actually click on the telephone number to call. And then this one is calls from website. This is a dynamic tracking number, a dynamic phone number that using Google forwarding. So each prospect that comes to your website will see a different telephone number. That's a unique ID, and that gets recorded as a conversion. You can also use Google Tag Manager for event tracking, to record clicks on emails, a clickable email or a clickable telephone number. That works that's quite useful if you don't want to have a different telephone number for each customer. So then you've got the category over here as a lead, and then this is the attribution whether you want to count it once. Then you've got the conversion window, how long you count it as a conversion, including conversions, yes or no. And then you've got repeat rate, and then you've got the number of conversions, and then conversion values if it's e-commerce or any form of revenue like bookings, or it could even be profit from a system. So to create a new conversion, you just click on this blue button, add conversion. There's 4 different types. You've got a website conversion. Those are some of the ones that we're running through now. This is the one that you'll use most often. Then you've got apps. That could be apps, it could be the Apple Store, Google Play, so it's Android apps or Apple. And then this is the phone calls that we're running through now, and then you've got import. So you've got website, then you choose a category. So if it's a lead generation website, typically it's going to be leads. Then you can enter conversion name, and then you got the value. So you can put the currency here, select currency. Typically for lead gen, we'll just put this number, we'll put number 1 here, just because it's one lead. And then for e-commerce, you would have a different value. So this would be a default value that would be used if there was an issue with the e-commerce, but we'll go into more detail in a moment. But there is dynamic variables that you can use to capture the exact revenue. And then you've got the count. This is, do you want to count every conversion as a unique conversion? So let's say if somebody completes your contact us form twice, it would count as 2 different conversions. So with lead generation, you're typically going to choose 1, because if it's the same customer completing the form more than once, it'll only count as 1 conversion. With e-commerce, because every transaction is going to be extra value or revenue, you would use every. Then we've got conversion window. The maximum is 90 days. Typically we'd recommend go for the maximum. There's no real reason why it wouldn't really count as a conversion for most companies if it was longer than the default 30 days. The view through is, this is quite useful for remarketing. You know, how long somebody saw your advert before, how long ago somebody saw your advert until they actually convert. And then we've got the option to include conversions, and then we've got last click. So you've got the attribution model, you've got all these options here. The default's last click. We usually use first click. And then these other options here are just sort of in between these two, first click and last click. So this will give you this will show you how your different campaigns interact with each other. We usually prefer to give credit to the first click, especially if you've got a brand campaign when you're bidding on your own brand terms, and that could be the last click, and that would take credit for the conversion when originally it was another keyword. So we'll typically do that. Create and continue. Now to install the tag, there's 3 different ways. Our preferred way is Google Tag Manager. The conversion ID is always going to be the same for every account. The conversion label will be unique, and that's how Google's able to tell, or the Google tracking system's able to tell the difference between the various conversions. The conversion linker tag is installed on all the pages, and that just helps improve tracking. So that, because sometimes, particularly with Apple, sometimes if you're using an Apple browser, if you haven't got this, you might not get all the conversions. That helps increase the amount of conversions. You can email the tag to your web developer, and you've got, so this is when you want to track a conversion. It's when somebody loads a page. So as the page loads, the script will load, and then a click is more useful for event tracking. That's if somebody clicks on a button. And then you've got the global site tag. That's your base tag. It goes on all pages. And then you've got the event snippet, that's unique. This is more difficult to set up than using Google Tag Manager. Tag Manager's got its own event tracking, auto event tracking. So all the stuff is soft coded. If you take this approach, it means more code for your web developer or yourself to put on the website. Whereas with Google Tag Manager, you can put one code in your website, the actual iframe of Google Tag Manager, and then soft code all the other tags within Tag Manager. And then if you wanted to install it yourself, you've got the code here. So this is the base tag that goes on all the pages, and then this over here. So this is the value. You put your variable over here, that your shopping cart, if you've got a shopping cart, you change this value here, and you put in the variable for your revenue, and then you can put in your currency here as well. And then that's the label and the ID. Choose next. Done. And then you can, next one is apps. So this is quite self-explanatory. This Firebase is Google's own app tracking tool that can track not just Google, not just on Google platforms, but with third parties. And there's various app tracking software. Then phone calls, these are the 3 we spoke about. Call extensions or call only ads. So the people that actually see your telephone number is the call extensions in Google on below your advert, and click on it and actually call, and then you've got call only ads. And with call only ads, you can't actually click through the advert to go to the website. If the only option is to actually click on the advert to call, which is useful if your company gets a lot of telephone calls, or if a telephone call is more valuable than a lead captured through the contact form. This is the call forwarding option, where every person gets a unique telephone number. And then this is for a mobile website. Clicks on a number, and it's similar. You can also use the event tracking of Google Tag Manager of clickable phone numbers. And then finally, you can import from Google Analytics. You can actually just set up goals in Google Analytics, either event goals or destination page view goals, where you've got a dedicated thank you page. For example, if a customer completes a form, they get forwarded on or redirected to a thank you page, and then that becomes the goal. But if you want to use event tracking, like clickable clickable email links or clickable click to call on your website, then using the Google Analytics event tracking is a good option. And then this over here you can import from Salesforce, which is useful because then you can all your one opportunities, you can record the revenue of any one opportunity. When you convert it to one, then it'll import and actually give you the revenue, making your lead generation closed loop marketing similar to e-commerce, where you've got, instead of just a cost per lead model, you can actually go into a return on ad spend model where you can see your revenue. Okay, so that's conversion tracking in a nutshell.